Soccer 605, we caught up with Guy McNeely, the South Dakota Soccer State Referee Administrator here at the Dakota Alliance Indoor Tournament. You guys are doing some fun things for referees here.
We are. We've got our futsal certified referees are working this futsal tournament, and we had an assessor clinic in conjunction over here at Beef O'Brady's. Our State Director of Assessment, Mike Watson, had about 10 assessors from South Dakota and 3 new assessors from North Dakota in today, and we went through some assessor training, and then we brought everybody over, and we've been doing a little field training, watching some games.
And that's a great opportunity. Now, I imagine it's a little different trying to do any assessments at an indoor tournament. You can't even do an official assessment, can you?
No, it wouldn't qualify for an upgrade or maintenance assessment, although there are developmental things that we can watch, and the indoor game is mostly about players having an opportunity to have recreation and compete. We put mostly experienced officials on these games who know how to manage, but there are some opportunities for referees in that middle grade to observe and see game situations and player management situations where they can take it to the larger game once we get outside in the spring. And that's what the assessors are doing, is talking about the differences between the two games and how positioning on these games, things, foul recognition and managing players, it's good experience taking it from here to outside.
Well, and I would think that this is a smaller game to manage, fewer players on the field. It would be a good training ground for some of the referees to go to the next level.
Yeah, it's faster play, and of course on these turf fields here, it's a little slower than it is on some of the venues around the state, but a lot of the venues have these hardwood basketball floors, and they're using real soccer balls instead of futsal balls, and so it happens so fast. For inexperienced officials, it's just so much information, it's kind of an overflow, and so we want experienced and medium experienced officials on these games so they can do service to the game as well as learning from it.
Well, and also with the indoor game, you usually don't have a couple of ARs to help you out with some of those issues.
No, most of the small-sided games, it's 1 or 2 officials. They're using 1 here, and a lot of the venues they're using 2 officials.
Yeah. And one thing I noticed, and I don't know why I've missed this in the past, but the patch that the referees wear for the indoor games is different. Can you tell us about that program?
It's new this year, and last year was the first year that U.S. Soccer told us that we needed to certify officials for the indoor game. We'd been operating for about 10 years here with just the assumption that certifying once a year made it okay for all the games, and U.S. Soccer told us last year, no, we need to have it an indoor registration certification training. And then July 1 this year, they split it even further between indoor and futsal, and the State Youth Board and the State Referee Committee, in conjunction with each other, did some study, and we found that the futsal game met the needs of South Dakota mostly, and so it's kind of a light blue badge as opposed to the bright blue youth badge or the black adult badge for the outdoor game.
So we knew there was some discussion going on across the state about more consistency in rules between the different tournaments for the indoor game. Was this part of what prompted it? Was this decision by U.S. Soccer?
Well, we wanted to give the teams and the players and the officials the opportunity to do a good job for each other. And so if you're going to have one game that the local associations can adapt to their local venues, as opposed to 100 different games and 100 different sets of rules, there's variances. I mean, you go from Spearfish to Rapid City to Pierre to Aberdeen to Sioux Falls. There's variances, but largely it's modified futsal rules, and it's pretty consistent for the officials and the players.
Well, we've been to quite a few of them across the state, and they do all seem to be pretty consistent. So tell us about some of the other things that are happening with referees in South Dakota. Are the numbers of registered referees, has that changed?
I've been with the State Referee Committee since September of 2009. I succeeded Jackie as the SRA in November of that year. And each year I've seen a growth in referee registrations. And last year was the highest we've ever had. Of course, we had about 100 indoor registrations, but we were, I think, 717 registrations last year, and it had been 6-something the year before that and 5-something the year before that. So we're consistently growing. Nationwide, there's about 140,000 soccer officials, and the turnover for youth officials is 40% in any given year. So the things the State Referee Committee and the Youth Board are looking at right now is referee retention. So we're doing some different things with training, fundraising, how we can co-op, putting mentors out on field, and giving more support to youth referees so that we aren't losing 40% a year. And it's expensive for the state referee committee and the local associations to recruit and train and recertify. So if you're losing 40% of your population for whatever reason, it's expensive to replace that every year. So we're looking at some things there. We also have some programs for our advanced referees. We've had some officials who've succeeded on the national stage at youth regionals, ODP, President's Cup, regional and national. We've had Lauren Parliament, Jeremy Kiso, Chance Sorensen, all been recognized and done some traveling. In December, Jeremy and Lauren both had the opportunity to go to some showcase events through U.S. Soccer and to some development academy events. The state referee committee has dedicated some money for a high potential group. We're looking to provide more training and opportunities for our officials that we send to youth regionals to go to other outside events and have experience by receiving treatment or training.
Well, treatment might be called for in some situations, right?
It could be. Receive training from national and FIFA level instructors and be assessed by national and FIFA level assessors, be experienced to higher level games. And so we're looking for the next generation of Kevin Messmans to step up and be recognized and represent South Dakota.
Well, and we're thrilled to see the numbers growing and are here to help with that retention in any way that we can.
Well, thank you.
And the other issue that I always ask you guys about is how are we doing for the numbers of female referees, because, you know, at least half the players out there are female.
Yeah, it's something that nationwide with Title IX and all that, when I was coaching college girls, you know, you couldn't get administrators at colleges to put 51 or 52% of their budget into female sports, and I think nationwide we're doing a better job with that. But in our society, for whatever reason, there's so many opportunities for kids these days. It's hard to keep officials, period. And we're really working hard to get more young women involved with the state referee committee to work games as officials. And that's one of the things that Region 2 recognized South Dakota for last year, was the number of females in our delegation. Coming up here, the Iowa Referee Academy, we got a carload of 6 up-and-coming young female referees from South Dakota that are going to go over and get training from national and FIFA level instructors. And I look for each and every one of them. You know, Lauren's going along with them and mentoring them, but we want to get our young women out there just as much as any other state, and we're doing that.
Yeah, and it's good to see a good, strong cadre of sharp young women that are reffing in the state and contributing to the game in that fashion, as well as the young men. It's been fun watching the referees' growth and development. We sure hope you keep us posted on future changes.
Yeah, well, we've got things in the works, and a lot of what's going on with referees now is technology. And one of the things we're hearing is we want more online training, so we're looking into ways we can more efficiently get information out to our referees. A few weeks ago, somebody pointed out to me that our Facebook site hadn't been updated. So now we've got a couple of state referee committee members who their job is to update our webpage and our Facebook account. Kids use their cell phones. About 80% of the games in South Dakota now are signed through game officials, and kids get text messages when there's games available, when there's training available. So we're trying to get up with the rest of the country and get updated with technology.
I think in some ways South Dakota stays a little bit ahead of that in the technology because, well, we have to. It's a little further to go to communicate.
It's a long ways from Sioux Falls to Rapid City or Aberdeen to Yankton, and if you're going to cover that space efficiently, you got to be smart about it.
Well, thanks for the update on what's happening with referees. Guy McNeely, the state referee administrator. Keep us posted.
Thank you, Soccer 605.